Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I hope all of you are able to listen to me. Can you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Good. So today, you know very well that today is basically this class is scheduled to have a revision, a quick revision. I know very well that you people would be doing a lot at home. You would be revising your concepts. You would be going through the concepts and the chapters which are there in your coming stand-up exams. I know about it. But the purpose of this class is that we may have a quick revision, number one. Number two, we can see that what is the paper pattern and how should we write the answer. This is very important. What are the important factors that we should take care while writing an answer on the answer sheet. Then number three thing is that which is also very important. Okay, we will have a test, a short practice test for the MCQs, so that you should have an idea. And I had shown you the past papers as well, that how the questions will come in your papers. So what will happen, K? What will happen that you will have a short test as well. And today, you know, this class is of 1 hour. So what will happen that at 1:10, this class will be terminated after 40 minutes, because in Zoom class, you know that the session is maximum of 40 minutes in this version. So what will happen that you are going to join again, you will rejoin at 1:10. You will rejoin, I will reconnect, and then we will continue, and then I am going to take a short MCQs test. Okay, so we start from the chapter number 1. You know very well that these are the questions which will come in your exams. We have got 4 chapters here. From these 4 chapters, you are going to have your exams, the upcoming exams. So we start from the chapter 1. Abbas, you want to ask something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, chapter 3 will come.
I had told you, and I had revised some important things as well from the chapter 3, and I had told you some particular topics. Because chapter 3 is about Word and Excel, and you know, Office automation, and Office automation is included in the exam. So I had already clarified this thing, and some key questions were there at that I told you these are important, which may come in the theoretical paper, because most of the things in the chapter 3 are basically practical in nature, so that those things cannot come. But for example, let's take an example. Okay, define conditional formatting. What is meant by conditional formatting? What is meant by page orientation? So you know that page orientation is basically the position of the page, whether you are taking the page in Microsoft Word horizontally or vertically, you can describe in words. So such kind of questions will be there and it will come. Okay.
Sir, but according to the reduced syllabus, chapter 3 is only the practical.
Yeah, I know about it. I know about it. Chapter 3 is only practical. I know about it. And in the reduced syllabus, they are saying that nothing will come. But in this exam, since we have studied, so maybe some small question may come, like conditional formatting or like such kind of thing. Okay,
Okay.
fine. Okay. Now, now we go towards the chapter number 1, Introduction to Computer. So in the introduction to computer, you know that define this is basically the computer processing cycle. This is also called the cycle of computer, the processing cycle. Input, process, and the output. One more step is there, which is called storage, but that is basically a secondary step. Computers process are basically input, process, and output. First, computer system takes data and command what to do and for with to do, what is the data with which it has to do, and what to do, what kind of operation is there that it has to do, and then it is going to process that particular data, giving you the output. When the output comes, you need to store it. So that's fourth step is also there. When output comes, you have to store that particular output, and when you are going to store it, you need to have some storage media, of course. So you are going to store that particular storage media. This is called the processing cycle, computer processing cycle, or also the machine cycle. Now, history of the computer is there. All these questions can constitute 3 marks question in the short questions. 3 marks questions can come in the short questions. Okay, let's suppose abacus. The question may come, okay, what do you know about abacus? Define the purpose of the abacus, how abacus is used. This is digital or analog. So you are going to write that basically this is an analog computer having beads in it, and the arrangement of the beads can give you the answer of complex calculations. This was developed in China. The historical background is also there that you can write over there. This is basically the very first computer. It was basically a very first calculating device. And afterwards, we had some other devices invented by some different mathematicians and by some different scientists. Then come towards the Napier Bones. Napier Bones, John Napier, a Scottish mathematician, had invented this calculating device. 1614. Normally, the historical questions don't come. It won't come in the MCQs in which year the Napier Bones was invented, because normally in the sciences paper the emphasis is on the concept, not on the historical background. But you should know that it was invented in 1614, and basically it was containing a box having cylinders, each of which had the digits from 0 to 9. It could had performed some kind of mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, square roots, etc. So this was also similar to the abacus, but it was an advanced one, comparatively advanced one, but with some different structure. Of course, these all computers were analog in nature. No current, no digital mechanism, nothing was there in these kind of devices. Then Pascaline machine is there. Then difference engine is there. So if question comes about Pascaline, so there are a bit differences in their structures because they are working how it used to work. This is not there in our syllabus. We are not going to perform how it will work, show the calculation. No, only define and explain the structure, how it looks like, what it used to do, what is used to do, and how it looks like. It just like over here, you can see that okay, there are wheels in Pascaline machine. There are wheels. Pascaline was developed by Blaise Pascal. He was a mathematician, and he developed it in a very early age, and it was developed in 1942. So again, over here, the wheels were there. Each wheel had 10 parts having digits from 0 to 9. So the calculations were made using the rotation of these wheels. When we talk about the difference engine, so difference engine and analytical engine, these are also calculating machines developed in 1822 by Charles Babbage. Charles Babbage was basically the mathematician who worked on it. He called it difference engine, the machine that he developed for the sake of calculations. And later on, there were some alterations in that particular machines, and the machine became an analytical engine, means one step ahead the difference engine. So this may come in the MCQs. Let's suppose, okay, difference engine was converted into which machine? So you are going to say, and you are given 4 options, let's suppose. So you are going to say analytical engine. It was basically evolved into analytical engine then. Now come towards the Hollerith desk. It was also a calculating machine. In 1890, Herman Hollerith built a tabulating machine called Hollerith desk, as shown in, you can see over here. the machine is basically set up on a table, so that's why it is called a desk. This machine was invented to help with the census of 1890s in US in America. However, a desk consisted of a card reader which sends the holes in the cards, a gear-driven mechanism which could count, and a large set of digital indicators to display the results. So you can see that its structure is comparatively different from the previous machines that we have discussed. So over here, the card readers are there to give input. And the basic objective was to count the inputs of the number of people in the census. Census, you know, when the country decides to count people in different areas and to collect different kinds of statistics. So it is basically a huge data to process, to count and to manage and to organize. So basically, tabulating machine means it used to organize in the form of tables. The data could be formula or could be organized in the form of tables so that the data can be understood easily. This was basically the purpose of the Hollerith task. Then there was slide rule based on the idea of logarithm. So it was dealing with the logarithm. English mathematician William Alfred developed a device called slide rule. You can see in the picture, and it used to calculate manually. It used to calculate the logarithm, just like you would have seen the log tables are there. So basically, the device was made to use two different rulers that can slide on each other to give some different answers for the logarithm values. Logarithm is a topic that you would have studied or you will study in 10th class, or you would have studied in 9th class. I don't know about it, but it is there in the secondary and higher secondary classes. So you will see that it is used in the logarithm. So nowadays, just like you use calculator or you use log tables to find out the log values. So this was basically the slide rule was the machine which used to find out such kind of answers. Then come towards the Mark 1. Mark 1 is there, that is basically a machine to calculate complex digital calculations, to make digital calculations. Okay. And it was basically a device which was having a digital mechanism, okay, in the form of electrical switches. So if you see over here, the structure is mentioned over here. You can see over here, it could add three numbers having 8 digits in 1 second. It could print out its results on punch card or on electric typewriter. Punch card was basically the mechanism to give input or to have output, because there wasn't any keyboard in the early computer and there wasn't any monitor. How will you see the output? How will you give the input when there is no keyboard? How will you see the output when there is no monitor or screen? So the job was done because of the punch cards. Punch cards were the device using which you can give the input and you can have the output. It was 50 feet long, 8 feet high, and weighed about 5 tons. You can see the huge size is there. It was set up inside some hall or in the room. It used 3,000 electric switches. Mark 1 is shown in this figure. If you go to the net, you can find out some more pictures as well for the Mark 1. So basically, when it can come in your short questions, and even for the MCQs even, but normally the such kind of questions which are there from the early generations of the computers, so these are there in the, you know, short questions. Okay, history of computers, when you go, you can see that history is divided on the basis of the technology. What kind of technology was there? So it is divided in some generations. Why? Because when technology changed, so they call it another generation. When again technology changed, then they call it another generation because of the great change in the technology. So when we are talking about the digital computer, so basically we are starting the generations from here, that is first generation. But when we talk about the abacus or Napier bones or Pascal line machines, so these are not basically in the first generation even. These are basically the calculating devices. So first generation is from 1940 to 1956. Okay. And the characteristics which are mentioned about the first generation, these are very important, because in the short questions you may be given, and you would have seen in the past papers as well, okay, you will be asked just like, okay, write 3 important characteristics of the first generation, let's suppose. Or even in the long question, they can give you for the 4 marks in one part, okay, write 4 characteristics about uh, first generation. The question can come also in this way, compare the characteristics of first generation with second generation. The question may come in this way as well. Okay, so this thing is very important over here. So in the first generation, computers were using vacuum tubes. Number one, this is very important. Vacuum tubes means this basically these were the bulbs, vacuum tubes. Speed was slow and memory was very small. This is the characteristic of the first generation. And you can see that I had already discussed in the Mark 1, because Mark 1 is also one example of the first generation, because they were having very huge size, huge size. First generation computers were very expensive and unreliable, because there was a problem of heating as well. Power consumption was also there, because they used to use very much power in order to process the data. The rooms need to be very cool. If the room is also closed, that much closed that it is heat up, so it could be dangerous. The input was based on the punch card, output was obtained on printouts through electric typewriters. Printouts were also available using the typewriters, and punch cards were also used for the outputs. Machine was used in these computers. These are the examples. These can be asked in your MCQs. For example, if I give you 4 options, and if I give you one name from these options which is correct, and other are from the other generations of the computer, and if I ask you, okay, which of the following computer is there which is in first generation computer, so you are going to say, let's suppose if the Mark 1 is there, so you are going to say this is Mark 1, or you are going to say ENIAC. Okay, so you need to remember these examples. These are very important for your MCQs. Keep in mind. Now come towards the second generation. Second generation from 1956 to 1963. Okay, sometime you will see that these are 5-6 years, sometime you will see that these are only 5-6 years, so 5 or 6 year gap will be there in the coming generations. Now in the second generation, what happened? You can see this image. Transistor was introduced. First generation, that vacuum tube was there. Second generation, the transistor was introduced. So transistor is basically comparatively a better device to process data, and transistor is basically processing mechanisms unit, basic unit, on which the next generations are also based. Okay, because when we talk about ICs in the third generation, you can see that the IC picture is there. So IC is also basically based on the transistors. IC is the combination of transistors. When multiple transistors are there, they build one chip which is called IC. So third generation is advanced in this sense that they became able to make the integrated circuits, the ICs. Okay, so over here, if you see the important characteristics that can be asked in your exams, transistors were used instead of vacuum tubes. Means the vacuum tubes were removed and the transistors were introduced. Transistors reduce the size. Of course, the transistor size is comparatively less, and vacuum tube size is, of course, a bigger size. And speed of the memory and the size of the memory was also increased. Speed of the computer system was increased. Heat was reduced, because in vacuum tubes the heat was there. Computers became more reliable and cheaper. Second generation computers used punch cards, readers, magnetic tapes were introduced, storage mechanism. Now you can see that the storage mechanism was introduced. Printers were also there attached, just like with the typewriter. Assembly language was used in these computers. Means the assembly language means that we were not dependent on the machine language only. So a bit higher language, which was basically assembly language, it was introduced. The languages, the computer languages which were introduced for the sake of programming were Fortran and COBOL. These are the famous languages of that time, because in these languages, COBOL was basically common business oriented language in which they used to make the business and accounting softwares. Fortran was formula translation language in which they used to make different kind of mathematical evaluations. Okay, so the examples of the machines are mentioned for, we are talking about second generation. UNIVAC 2, or not only UNIVAC, because UNIVAC was also there in the first generation. UNIVAC 2, okay. NCR 300 series, these are famous examples. CDC, this is also an example. So you need to remember these names, when the question will come in the MCQs, you need to remember these are the example of second generation, these are the example of first generation, these are the example, okay. So when you talk about the third generation, you will be able to see that the characteristics are there. After completing this topic, I'm going to take the questions. So in the third generations, the transistors change into ICs. ICs are comparatively better device as compared to only transistor. The basic unit is transistor. Even in the IC, the basic unit is transistor. But an IC is composed of multiple transistors. So you have to read these characteristics. In fourth generation, 1971 to present, fourth generation we have more technologies. The microprocessor came. Microprocessor is basically the combination of even ICs. Multiple ICs are there in the microprocessor, and nowadays you can see that multiple processors are there in one processor. So we are basically now we are basically in fifth generation right now. But in your book they have covered up to 1971 and up to present. They are saying okay, this is fourth generation, but right now we have entered the fifth generation because some more technologies are there which are even better technologies. So you can see that over here the operating systems were introduced, graphical user operating systems were there, large variety of the softwares were there, mini computers, mainframe computers, microcomputers. A computer system, a complete computer system of that time of 60s 80s is now in your cell phone. So even better than that computer system used to be. So even better technologies that you are having right now. The machines which are there, you can see that the Pentium series, dual core, core 2 dual, AMD, Athlon, Quad, these all are the i3, i5, i7, these are the machines that you are using nowadays. Fifth generation, when the computer will be able to basically understand all the things by the human beings, will be able to understand each and everything just like we discussed with the people. So fifth generation computers are basically the new technologies and the technologies which will come in the near future. These will be based on the artificial intelligence, when the computer will be given such intelligence so that it can understand what we want to have from the computer system. It is going to make for us. It is going to develop that kind of application. It is going to give you that kind of answer that you need. Just like when two people are talking and discussing about some topic to reach on some result or some decision, in the same way, the people will be able to communicate with the computer system on the basis of artificial intelligence. This is basically the called the fifth generation. Now you can raise the hand for your question. Yes, Abbas.
Sir, when was Python introduced?
Python, I don't remember the exact year. You can check on the Google. But Python is basically a latest language in which the programmings are being done. And since it is very much in demand, so most of the people are trying to attempt the Python courses. So you can develop desktop and web applications using Python language. This is one of the latest languages which are available, for programming. Okay, now come towards types of computers: digital, analog, and hybrid. Analog, which is entirely analog. The current may be there in the analog, but the current will be analog current, alternate current. And the device will be used for the sake of calculation of voltage, calculation of, measurement of any kind of thing that you are doing. Okay, that is called analog computer. That is machine that is used for the analog computation. Digital, which is based on the digital mechanism. Just like today's digital computer, the microcomputer, the cell phone, tablets, laptops, these all are in digital in nature. Analog, which has got both the characteristics, Normally, the input is analog and the output processing and the output is digital in nature. Just like if you see over here, so they are showing you the machine device which is basically used in the ICU. They take input for the heartbeat, for the blood pressure, and such kind of vital signs. Vital signs mean the signs which are there in a human being who is alive. So that input is basically analog in nature. But when they process it and show you the output, just like the heartbeat on the screen, on your screen, that particular processing is basically digital in nature, and the output is also digital in nature. This is called hybrid. Hybrid means when both combinations are there. For example, if you see the speedometer of a car, it is also hybrid. Why? When the wheel is moving, the movement of the wheel is basically analog in nature, and you are counting its rotation, and then you are calculating after one rotation how much distance will be covered, and then you become able to find out the speed of the car, and you show on your digital screen. That's why it is called a hybrid machine. The speedometer of the car, with the cars which are available nowadays, this basically which are giving you in the digital figure, they are giving you the output. Supercomputers, now classification of the digital computers is there. Supercomputers which are very huge computers which can perform trillions of instructions per second. Normally not used by the business organizations. These are not used. These are used by some large organizations which are doing researches, just like NASA, just like some military organizations which are doing research on the cold test or in such kind of things. Okay. So normally they develop their own supercomputer. Supercomputer is not a small computer you can place inside a room. These are set up in big halls. Okay, and the processing which is done on those computers is also very huge. You should know some good names of the supercomputers which are mentioned over here. Just like they have mentioned that the Columbia supercomputer located at the NASA this is basically a supercomputer. So supercomputers are now available in the market as well by different vendors, but normally those organizations which are having very high profile data, they don't prefer to buy the supercomputer because the company which is providing you the supercomputer, they know how it has been developed and they can decode it. They can access your network. So normally what happens, just like military organizations, just like it is said that the Sparko has also developed in Pakistan, they have got the supercomputer. The Pakistan army is also using supercomputers in Kahuta in Atomic Research Commission. Why? Because they have developed their own. Why? Because no one should be there who knows how we have developed and how we are processing, so that it could not be decoded by any vendor. Because when we buy from someone, so they have developed, they know each and everything about it. So normally these are specially designed by some particular organization. But mainframes are available in the market. Any big organization can purchase. For example, you would have listened about the HBL in Pakistan. They have got the mainframes over there. You would have listened about the Pepsi and Coke. These are the large organizations providing, supplying their products all over the country, all over the world. So they have got their mainframes. Mainframes are the big machines set up in the rooms or the halls for the sake of processing of data, and the IO devices are connected with them. These IO devices are called dumb terminals. Okay, so basically those dumb terminals are connected with the mainframe computer, and a number of millions of computers can be connected with that particular machine. We cannot connect multiple computers with a one server, with a one normal server. Millions of computers, millions of IO devices cannot be connected. So, but it is possible in the mainframe computers. So if you take the examples over here which are available, IBM's IBM's Enterprise EC12, EC196. These are the some series which are available. Mini computer is comparatively, smaller than the main frame computer and larger than the microcomputer. But for example, if some organization is there which does not want to have a mainframe, or they find it comparatively, you know, they find it is very costly, so they can purchase mini computer. It is less costly. Number one thing. That another thing is there, they don't have millions of IO devices to connect with it, and they have some thousands of, and they want to have huge data processing. So then they can prefer such kind of mini computer. Okay, the difference is only in the processing capacity between mainframe and mini. Both can connect dumb and intelligent terminals with them. Okay, you can note down, you should note down the examples over here. Just like they have given PIA has got, Nadra has got mini computers. Okay, and you can Google it. Okay, what are the organizations in Pakistan, for example, or in Gulf? What are the organizations which have got mainframe computers? It will show you the names. What are the list the organizations in the Gulf which are using mainframe computer system or which are using mini computer system? It will show you the list. So just like they have given you the list of PIA and Nadra are using. Okay, some hospitals are also there, private hospitals, where they have got huge data. Many computer series which are available in the market are basically, these are the series: IBM System 36 and HP 3000. Mini computer, you know, microcomputer, you know very well about it. I don't think so. Okay, there is anything that I need to explain. The computer, which is basically desktop and the laptop computers, even tablets, even cell phones, these all are microcomputer. Okay, because a cell phone nowadays contains, with Android operating system, contains all the options that there isn't anything that you can do on desktop or laptop. You can also do that kind of thing on your cell phone as well. Okay, so I'm going to omit these topics. You have to read it. Education, business. What are the uses of the computers in defense, in media, in manufacturing? I had given you some revision for these all topics. These are the different kind of jobs which are available for, you know, for the students who are studying computer science. Okay, then come towards the input devices. We have got keyboard, mouse. You are well aware about it. You have to read these all things because these questions can come in your short questions. Okay, what is the purpose of the barcode reader? Define the purpose of the barcode reader. Okay, what is meant by motherboard? Motherboard is basically the main board of the computer system, using which all the devices are connected directly or indirectly to the computer system. Okay, then microprocessor is basically the main chip, and these are the components that you can see inside the microprocessor. Arithmetic logic unit is there, control unit is there, and the registers are there inside. Arithmetic and logic unit performs the mathematical calculations like plus, minus, divide, and multiply. Microprocessor has got control unit, which is basically the main unit, which behaves like a traffic sergeant and controls all the operations of the computer system. Registers are basically the small memory areas inside the central processing unit while the data is being processed. When we talk about the storage devices, hard drives is one of the major storage device that is installed in your computer system permanently, and you use it for the sake of installation of the operating system as well, and for the sake of booting of operating system for each time when you switch on your computer system. And it is normally magnetic in nature. DVD, it is portable. You can insert DVD, you can remove DVD. Okay, and it is optical in nature. It is not magnetic. It is optical in nature. Memory card is now obsolete. This is basically the floppy disk is obsolete, and now we have got memory cards. So memory cards are there that you can insert in the card reader. Card readers are there in your laptops normally available, and you can read it, you can write data on it, and you can read data from it using card reader. So these all are the things. Flash memory, we are talking about the USB device. I'm going to take, after finishing this point, I'm going to take the questions. At 1:10, your class will be terminated. We will rejoin. Keep in mind, note it down. At 1:10, this 40-minute class will be terminated and we are going to rejoin. Okay. Then come towards the USB. USB is a portable memory device. It is inserted in the USB. That's why we call it USB. Otherwise, its actual name is flash memory or flash drive. Different versions, USB 2, 2.0, USB 3.0. These are available in the market that you can use. In output devices, the major device is monitor, and monitor has got two types. One is basically the flat bed, and one is basically the CRT monitor. CRT monitor is basically having an electron gun inside, which throws electrons on the display, which is coated with the phosphorus dot on the backside, and it glows those dots. So that's why Now the CRTs are going to be obsolete because the LCDs, the flat bed, in flat bed we have got different technologies, LCD, LED monitors, different types of LED monitors are now available. But these are smart in nature. They take less size, they consume less power, they give you better image, and there are a number of advantages. Although these are the flat bed are comparatively sensitive as compared to the CRT, but they have more advantages. So that's why the flat bed have now they have removed the CRT. Now you will see very less number of CRTs are there. You will see, okay, there are very less. Printers. Printer is a device for the sake of printing. You know very well, when you need to have a hard copy output, so you are going to use the printing machine. Impact printer, which are noisy printer. Impact means which have got some physical striking mechanism just like a typewriter. Those are called impact printers. But when we talk about the non-impact printer, these are silent printers. But impact printers are also slow. Impact printers are slow, these are noisy, these are slow, and these are available normally in one color printout, blue or brown or black. Such kind of print is there with the impact printer. So there are some different types in the impact. Dot matrix printer is there in the impact printers, and similarly you will see that daisy wheel printers are there. Different types of printers are there. They have got physical striking mechanism with them. When we talk about non-impact, so non-impact are silent with better quality of the image. Colors are also available. These are fast. So nowadays you will see that there are the printers which are basically non-impact printer that we use to print. If you see your fee slip that you receive, that is printed by the impact printer. You will see that there are holes on the corners because some mechanism is there to push the page, and you will see that the print is there in the dotted format. If you see your receipt, that particular fee voucher of your school, so you will see that the dotted figures are there. Dotted figures are there. It is showing you that the printout is basically made from the impact printer. Okay. But in non-impact printer, the page will come one after the other. It will be fast, it will be silent, it will have colors, it will have better quality. Of course, its cost will also be more. When we talk about the plotters are basically the printing machines which are used commercially. Normally, you will not find plotter inside offices and homes. These are used to print for large pages, sheets, or ragzine sheets, or even plastic sheets. You would have seen some different kind of hoardings and plastic banners, ragzine banners inside the supermarkets or on different sides of the roads. How these are printed? These are not printed by the ordinary printers. These are printed by the plotters. So plotters are also there, which are basically flat bed or drum plotter. So both types of plotters are there. So they print that particular graphic on ragzine sheet or on plastic sheet, or on large papers even, and good color quality, and you can place it anywhere wherever you want to place it. So basically the plotters are used to print such kind of things which are used for the marketing purpose, to display some announcement, some good package, some good product deal, or such kind of things. The billboards are in the boards of the shops are also printed using the plotter machines. Speakers are, very well, these are the output device for the sound that give you the sound output. Okay, so we will rejoin when this class is terminated, because as I have told you, okay, this will be of 40 minutes.